How would you assess Michael Dove's teaching? What's your experience been? What has your experience been?
Well, it's funny because the first thing that comes to mind is conversations where you've mentioned that you are not a teacher.
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny to me when you mention that because I experience you to be a teacher. And certainly in the traditional sense, a teacher imparts upon their students content, knowledge. A teacher imparts what they have to share. Some of my favorite teachers definitely did that. But what they also did was they introduced me to who I am in ways that are very meaningfully shaping and valuable. And when they've introduced me to who I am, they've allowed for me to witness with account and with compassion what my needs are and how I am capable of really identifying what my needs are. Yes, I need to learn the content of this class as it relates to as it relates to you, life attunement. The first life attunement class that I experienced, you spoke about soul retrieval and how trauma can impact one's relationship to their soul. And I experienced it at the time to be profoundly impactful. That hour and a half to be profoundly impactful. But as a teacher, you invite us to identify ourselves as our own teachers. That's what I've experienced in you. And that to me, that's that quality of teaching that is so very rare to come across. Because sometimes a teacher will find value from experiencing their students to need them, to need to come to them. And I can totally understand that. I've experienced that. Working in communities of people and working with groups of young folks, I've definitely experienced that. But what I've learned is that I take even more value when there's someone that I've worked with or someone that I've sat alongside and comes into experience not needing the relationship that we share in as teacher and student, because they've become a teacher themselves. They've become a role of source for self-knowledge, self-determination. A source of, they've become for themselves their North Star, their own guide. They've developed that capacity within themselves to know thyself, trust thyself, love thyself. And that's what I experience in you as a teacher. I come away from time participating in your classes with a want and a capability, a charged capability of further knowing myself, further trusting myself, further loving myself. It's a trip. You know, this has been kind of we've talked about it, this has been a different kind of time for me. And a friend of mine extended himself in generosity and offered to help me financially. And he's like, just get back to me with what you need. He said, get back to me with what you need. And so I sat down and I started to draft out what my needs were. And it was so funny because, yeah, sure enough, you know, like car note, cell phone, car insurance, groceries, you know, all that. And then I started to think about an amount that I need that I could ask for him. And it was a trip because I asked how much I wrote on the piece of paper, how much do I need? And then I was like, it just within myself, I was like, wait a minute, what do you need? And like 6 or 7 drafts of figuring out a budget and finances resulted in me writing what I need. And what I articulated to myself was, I need, as my own student, I need to continue to be a teacher and teach teachings. As my own teacher, I need to be a student and continue to learn learnings. And there was that identification, that self-identification of being my own teacher, being my own student. And that was very powerful to me. And I know that had I not been introduced to how you teach in your life attunement classes, in the experiences in the desert, in the experiences of our solstice honorings, I know the time spent there all contributed to me experiencing that moment of awareness. And that's why I think I would call your teaching style liberating, lovingly liberating, and liberatingly loving, and sharing of the divine. And I value it more than I can say. Yeah.
Very good.